see the world through my eyes. Vibrant purple sunrise, shards of broken dreams come raining down.
Mark here, Life and Fitness Files. Today, I want to be talking about the foundational aspects of a healthy lifestyle. Before I get into that, I want to share with you my mission in making these videos. I am someone that didn't get into health, wellness, fitness until a couple of years ago, and I know that has given me a ton of benefits, both mentally and physically, and I want to share my learning with you and hopefully inspire you to build those positive, healthy habits to feel better and live longer. So what are some of the foundational aspects of a healthy lifestyle? To me, there's a ton of different aspects. There's a million things you could read about there. It comes down to sleep, activity, movement, exercise, nutrition and supplementation. Hydration is part of that. That's pretty straightforward. And then mental wellness and taking care of ourselves. Quick rundown of each of these aspects and some targets so you can dig into what works right now for you in your lifestyle to help you to move towards healthier habits in your life in all of these aspects. So sleep. I have a few other videos on sleep, how to improve sleep, how light impacts sleep, but you want to shoot for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. You want to try to have a consistent going to bed time as well as a consistent wake time, including on the weekends, as much as you can. It's not always going to be perfect. There's days you're going to be up later. There's days you might not even be able to stay asleep. That's okay sometimes, but you want to shoot for as consistent of a bedtime and a wake time as possible. You want to make sure that you have good nighttime habits, not looking at light close to bed. You want to make sure you're not eating close to bedtime so that you can get as good of sleep as possible. Sleep has so many important functions that we need in order to maintain learning, for the learning we've done and solidify that learning, as well as the learning we're going to do the next day, and all of the physical things we're going to do, including exercise. So let's talk about exercise. Exercise is a critical part of a healthy lifestyle. As I mentioned in other videos, exercise is the single most effective way to increase longevity. You want to live longer, you're going to need to exercise. If you live a sedentary life and you do not move, you are not going to likely live as long as you could. And if you do, you're not going to feel as good as you could. So exercise is important. This includes a variety of things, including aerobic training, as you might have heard, zone 2. You want to be able to move where it's not crazy hard, but you could sustain this for 30 to 60 minutes a few times a week. That might sound daunting, but you can start with building some of those habits. The other aspect is resistance training or weight training. We lose muscle mass as we get older. After the age of 40, we lose 2 to 4% of muscle mass, not to mention strength and power. So we have to maintain that. As we get older, if we don't have any muscle, we can't function. That's what will happen. So we want to make sure we're doing resistance training, building muscle. And if you have muscle, you want to maintain that muscle so that you don't lose it, because naturally you're going to lose it. If you do nothing, it doesn't stay there. You have to maintain that. So you want to be doing aerobic training and exercise as well as muscle maintenance or muscle building if needed. Doesn't matter how fit you are right now or how old you are, you can get started even if you've never done anything before. People in their 80s and 90s in different studies and trials they've done can get into both of these types of exercises and be successful. You can do it no matter where you're starting. Then we have nutrition and supplementation. Our bodies need a lot of different micro and macronutrients to function. The goal is to eat whole foods, healthy foods, and limit refined carbohydrates and sugars. That seems pretty simple. It's not always that simple given the things that we're surrounded with at the grocery store, at work, people bring in potlucks, etc. It can be pretty difficult. You want to make sure that you are maintaining a proper calorie balance with healthy whole foods and adequate protein. That's a whole other subject, but those are the key parts of nutrition. There's also supplementation. If you have the luxury and ability to do a blood test to know where you may be deficient, that is going to be the best. If you can do blood tests, you can see where am I deficient, I can supplement in those areas or try to eat foods that support getting those aspects to the proper levels or supplementing if needed. But maintaining proper nutrition is incredibly important, both for the functions of our body as well as our mental health. Then we have hydration. Hydration seems pretty straightforward. However, it's something that can get overlooked. Many people do not have enough water throughout the day. I know there's been a big push with all these fancy water bottles. That's great. We need to make sure we're getting proper hydration, especially if we're active or we live in hot climates and you sweat a lot. You need to make sure you have that so that we are maintaining proper fluid levels. Then you have mental health and wellness and taking care of yourself. We want to make sure that we take care of our brains through sleep, exercise. Those things support our mental health. So we want to do things that help us to feel good physically as well as mentally. Food can help us to feel better. When we eat healthy, it helps our mental state. We think sometimes by eating junk, okay, that makes me feel better for a little bit, but it can create a negative feedback loop, and it's hard to say which one causes which one. It can make us feel worse, and then we want to eat more junk, and then we feel worse, and we don't want to be active. All of these things play a role with each other. If we can take positive steps to make these things work in our favor to feel better and live longer, we are going to live much better lives. Some of these things can be broken down into simple aspects, but it's not easy. We all have different demands in our lives. It can be challenging with time commitments, people commitments, work commitments. But if you can stack some habits and get started, you're going to find what works, and you have to have a little bit of a roadmap or you could end up all over the place. But by having some small goals, finding some small wins, feeling good about it, being excited to try this next thing, building in these habits, pretty soon it just becomes part of what you do, and you don't even have to think about it. It's not an extra thing, it's just the thing. It's just what you do. You feel better and you start wanting to do more. And you then maintain it because you say, well, when I do this, I feel better. If I go back to this, I thought I would like this, but it actually doesn't taste as good, or it doesn't make me feel good. Then you can tell because you have something to compare it to. No matter where you are, your age, your fitness level, your health level, you can always improve by making some positive steps, but you have to start somewhere and you have to have a little bit of a plan, and you can always build on it. I have some other videos on weight training, aerobic training, sleep. All of these things are critical pieces to our health and wellness. I'm hoping this video can help inspire you to make some goals to move towards some healthy habits and get started no matter where you are so that you can feel better and live longer. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with content, and I hope this video helps you on your fitness journey. Here's to life and fitness. Peace out.
Walking miles in someone else's show.